does,
Can
right?
someone be a good king and a good husband at the same time?
Yes, they can.
Why can't Ram be that?
They can, but Ram has, see, in this case, Ram has been an excellent husband until the point that this event happened, right?
But
But
that is the
once,
key test for
Mhm.
Ram, and he
Yeah,
failed miserably in
this is a
that
key.
test. Hi,
This is
Koji.
where are you calling from, Koji?
I'm calling from India, and that's a Hindi word for seeker. So
Okay,
I'm Hindu.
Are you a
what?
Just
seeker?
wanted to,
He's a
Are you a
Sanatani.
seeker?
yes.
I like seekers.
What
Let's
are you
see.
seeking?
Let's see what
Seeking the
you're
truth,
seeking.
seeking to understand, expand my knowledge about
Right.
this
So,
world and the world beyond.
so let me get this right. So you are currently a Sanatani,
Yes, sir.
and you're still seeking.
Yes, sir. I think the seeking never stops.
Okay.
Sanatan
Do
is
you
a seeker, isn't it?
do you have a criteria for what you're seeking?
Yes, I think the important thing that as a Sanatani, what I want to understand is, can I expand my knowledge to basically understand that being better, right?
No,
That
that
being
wasn't my
the
question.
the
My question
intelligent
was
reality.
like, in fact, if you're seeking for anything, you need
Mhm.
to at least know certain criteria as to what you're seeking. Yeah, I always give the example of lost keys. So let's say you have lost your keys, and
Mhm.
you're asking everyone, "Have you? Can you find my keys for me? I'm seeking my
Mhm.
keys. Can you help me?" And then they ask you, "What does your key look like?" And you say, "I have no idea." Will you ever find your keys?
Just
This
like
this
how Ram
seeking
was seeking Sita when she got kidnapped.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, he
this
at
this
least
seek,
found her at the end.
this seeking is different, right? Because you actually don't know what you're seeking, right?
No,
That's
but
the
then you
whole
are not seeking,
field of
because if you don't know
spiritualism,
what you're
right?
seeking, that's not called seeking.
So ultimately, what you're basically doing is seeking
Unless
your
you're
true
saying, "I want
self.
to acquire more knowledge," would be
Mhm.
more appropriate
Of course,
than
and the path of
saying,
knowledge is
yeah. So
the
just
path of
say,
knowledge is.
I'm looking for increasing my knowledge. Simple as that.
And
But when you're just
I
saying
would
seeking, it's like a
I can
shot in the
rephrase that
dark.
as I can rephrase that as seeking knowledge, right? So
Yeah, that's
it's
better. Yeah,
basically
that's much better. Now let
okay.
me ask you this: if you were
Mhm.
seeking God, what would be you looking for? What would be your
I would
criteria?
I would be looking to understand the true nature of myself, what I am, and how do I relate to that being. Because I know that there are many claimants in every religion who say that this is what God looks like, this is the attribute of God, this is what
Yeah.
He is, He appears to be, etc., etc. But no one has known that by experience, and all the information that we have received on that being is passed down by humans. So I think ultimately making that effort yourself. Of course, I would say that you have been offered a buffet. I mean, I guess people are lucky to have been offered a buffet of all these different thoughts and philosophies around the world. Don't restrict yourself to just one line of thought, just one line of
What would be your
spirituality.
criteria? That was the question. If
Criteria of
you're
what?
seeking God, what would be your criteria? How would you know you have found God now?
God would have to tell me.
Oh, so God has
God,
to come and tell you face
oh
to
yeah,
face?
oh yeah.
Okay. What if the
Why would I?
criteria was,
Why
if
would
you
I
see God,
believe?
you'll die? What if that was the criteria? Would you still want to die?
If death means that I can witness him, yeah, why not?
Okay, so
But I definitely would
every
not want to die
everyone,
in sin by killing
if you're in
myself,
such a
because
hurry
that's
to
what
see
turning
God,
inspiration.
then you would actually commit suicide.
No, then I would not, because that would be dying in sin, which may not help me reach God, right?
You
So
How
just
do
you
you know
just
that?
contradicted
How do you
yourself.
know
You
that?
just contradicted
Yeah.
yourself.
You
You
said if you
said
had to die for it,
if
you'll
it is
die.
to die to see
Exactly. Yeah.
God, I will do it. Then you took it
no, I
back.
mean, can I be assured that my death will actually bring me uh, face to face
But
with
then,
God? I mean, if I
hold on.
kill
If you're
myself,
asking us that question, so that cannot be your criteria. So you
no,
have to
I'm not
rephrase your
asking.
criteria.
I'm sorry, I'm not
You're
asking you that
asking us
question.
how to see God now.
No. Wait. I'm answering your question. I'm
Go on.
saying that I would not want. See, so the first thing that I would know is that this life that I have is a gift from God, right? He's given me this life. He's given me this body. He's given me this mind. Now, if I end that myself with this weird idea that I need to witness Him, then I probably am going to distance myself more from him than
How do you know?
I think would
Okay,
be possible.
how do you know killing yourself is a sin? How do you know that?
I know that from the from the moral principle that this body is from God, this life is from God, this miracle is from God.
Who
I
made
cannot
that
end it.
moral principle? Did you read it in a book?
No, I mean it's a basic
It's not basic.
inference that you can
Do you know
draw.
Sita asked to end her life? Do you know that? So is she
Sorry,
immoral when she did that?
what was that again? Sorry.
Sita, the wife of Ram, she
Mhm.
actually asked the earth to swallow her alive. So she asked
No,
to
so
end her
that's
life
so if I talk about
because of the
yes,
dishonor
Sita.
that was
Mhm.
meted to her by her own husband, and the insult and uh, the disappointment and also the distress that cost her. Because every time he's asking her to go through some test,
Yeah.
and he
No,
abandoned
so
her and so on.
what you're referring to is definitely one of the. I think Swati mentioned about this sometime earlier. It's one of the interpolated later kandas that is usually not considered as
No,
part
not
of the
at all.
main
Not at all.
law-making
It is from
process.
Yuddhakand. Koji, it's
No,
from
no,
Yuddhakand. It's
Yuddhakand does
not
not
from
have
Uttarakhand. It's
Yuddhakand
not
does
from
not have the
Uttarakhand. He
Patal
read it
Pravesh.
from Yuddhakand. The passage
Yeah.
which was
No, no,
shown where,
I agree with that passage, Swati.
yeah.
Not the what Hashim is talking about is the Patal Pravesh event,
So
which is not in
how did
the
Sita end
Yuddhakand.
her life, or how did she?
Well,
What was the end of Sita?
she was consumed back by Earth. I mean, how was she born? She never
Exactly.
had a
Did she
normal
not
human
wish for
birth,
that
right?
to happen to her? Did she not wish to end her life like that?
Le- Yeah, let me address that. So, for example, if you consider where Sita came from, right? Sita was not a human being like myself or yourself, right?
What?
She was not
What?
born. She was found from the soil. She was basically plowed out from the soil by
Yes.
King Janaka when he was
Plowed out from the
basically doing some
soil.
ritual farming. Yep, yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
Okay, so
She
But
she
did
was.
not have a
that
uterine
doesn't
birth.
defend Koji. Yeah, but that doesn't
Hmm.
defend. In fact, all the more somebody
Hmm.
who's also who's be for that matter,
Hmm.
kind of avatar, or somebody who's
True.
more than human in those
True.
kinds of traits of
Hmm.
virtues. For them, when they come down and when they descend on earth, we look
Hmm.
upon them. They are like our role models. So for a wife to be crying and requesting her husband to not abandon her like that, and to believe
Hmm.
and trust in her, and then we say that we celebrate Dashera and it's a triumph of good. I am not able to see any good then in that, when you make your
Okay.
own wife cry, and when you make your own wife give away like that to people and keep testing her chastity like
Yeah,
that and not believe
offering
in
your
her.
wife to other people. I mean,
Yeah,
that's.
I will
Do
address
you think
that.
that is moral according to your
I will address that. Let me
worldview?
take it one by one. Let me take it one
Okay.
by
Yes.
one. Okay, so first of all, I let me just start by saying that I do agree with Swati's point, right? She does have a point. Um, as is Ram a good husband, right? I think that is the one of the key
Yeah.
questions that comes out of
Yeah.
this. And basically, some of these events, that we see in the epics, where one has to choose between a dharma of a king and the dharma of a husband, we call these as the dharma sankats. And it's interesting how the different avatars or the other blessed beings, how they respond to these situations. Okay, so first of all, I did want to clear the air on a few things. For example, Sita was definitely crying and she was shattered, right? When after having spent so many days, basically fighting off the evil intentions of Ravana, when she's finally united with her husband again, she has to hear all these things from him, right? So she's definitely shattered. But she does not beg. She does not fall to the ground and beg for mercy. She does not. She actually
That wasn't
taunts
the
and
question. That wasn't the
Mhm.
question, my
No,
friend.
I'm taking it one step at
Yeah,
a
but you
time.
don't need to narrate the whole story. We have just read the
I don't need
story
to. I don't
earlier.
need to. No,
Yeah.
no, no.
What we're
You
asking
did
is,
not read all of
do
it,
you
right?
see
You
do
did
you
not.
see Ram as a good husband in the story of the Ramayana, the way he treated Sita?
It's nuanced. I don't see him as a good
How is it
husband in the sense
nuanced?
that he. I'll tell you.
Go on.
So you read until chapter 115, then
Hmm.
chapter 116 is where Sita basically taunts Ram and says that so he does not ask for a test. Sita offers the test herself. Okay, she
No, no.
says that if.
Before you go to the next
Mhm,
chapter, how do you
mhm,
deal
mhm.
with 115?
So on 115, so that 115 is actually explained in 117. Okay, so the
Okay, let me
explanation for
ask you this.
117.
Let me ask you
Mhm,
this. Do you consider
mhm.
it to be moral for a husband to give his wife away to others, including his brother, while he's still alive. Do you consider that to be moral or immoral?
He's not
And he is a
offering to.
king. And he is a
He's
king.
not giving her away to his brother. What
He's
he's
literally
saying that I
offering
would.
her. What do you mean? Shall I read it again for you?
No, not required.
Not
What he
required.
is saying
Even in
is
Mahabharata,
that.
I just want to add one
Sir,
more
please,
statement
let
from
me finish
Mahabharata.
my point, please. Kindly let me finish my point. Okay, so what basically Ram is saying here is that I would not take you back, and you have I'm abandoning you, and you have a choice of all these men. If you want, you can take any
Exactly.
No,
take
it's
Literally,
not a
he's
any.
choice
offering.
like that.
He's offering
It's
her.
not a choice like that. First of all, which husband tells her wife that, oh, this is a bouquet of choice, please choose another
Exactly.
husband and then go ahead and marry them. It's not
And
like
that
that.
includes men, monkey king, and a demon.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
I
just
mean,
want to add one more
yeah,
point
sure,
on
go ahead.
this statement from Mahabharata, where Ram says to Sita, giving an example of a dog, like he says that I will not take you back. You are now like as a butter tasted by a dog. So you have been leaked by a Ravan. So I would not take you back. By giving the example of dog, he says this thing in Mahabharata is mentioned. Book number
Right,
3,
right,
chapter number 275, verse number 13.
and that there is it is all unwound and explained right in chapter 118. So we'll get to that. So for now, what I'm going to do
How
is
can a husband?
wait.
How can a husband give an example of a dog, which is the example of a butter which is licked by a dog?
So the dog here is Ravan, right?
Yeah, and the butter is Sita,
But
which means
does he
that
actually does he actually?
Ravan has leaked Sita, so that he will not take it back,
Okay, so
and the butter
we'll
is
see if
not
we'll see if
Chastity, yeah.
we'll see if he means those suspicions, right? We'll see that
Of
But
point.
course,
he's
Koji,
already
it means
offering her to
you're
others.
attacking the chastity of a woman by giving such kind of phrases, and you are still speculating that we need to see what would it interpret and mean. Do you think that you could say that statement to your wife?
No, this is I'm not even in that situation, right? If
If
I
you
had
would
to
be
be in
in
that
such a
situation,
situation, would you ever say it to your wife, and will she ever
so,
live with you then after that?
so will you let me
Especially the wife
address this
who has
point?
gone through a
Mhm.
test, yes, of
True,
chastity, and she passed
true.
the test. And even
Mhm.
after that, Ram is not believing her.
True,
And it's
true.
not just about not believing, it's about the way in which those words are being attacked at
Yeah.
her. You know what the Koji, the irony is that just before Dashera, those 9 days
Mhm.
which have been celebrated in Navaratri, they are the nine
Mhm.
days where we really, it's said that we,
Feminism.
yes,
Yep.
Sanatanis would say that it's not even, look at us. We literally go to the level of even worshipping, the female energy, the female deities. And then you
Mhm.
see the 10th
Feminism.
day,
Feminism.
and then you see the 10th day that this happens, and this is like a symbol of good over evil. So, in all of this which happens, I'm not able
Mhm.
to see any good in that.
Yeah,
Moreover,
let me present my defense,
yes,
please. Let me present my
yes,
defense, and of course, I mean,
yes.
you're entitled to your opinion, of course, right? So, so this is basically 11521. So this is where I was saying that it was, Ram was not. He was definitely taunting her and being very unkind to her. I have no, I wouldn't, disagree with that at all. But at the same time, basically what he was doing is not telling him that you need to go to that person or not, or
He
so,
was.
but basically saying
Read
you may go
23.
wherever
He
you
was.
like. You may
He
go
was.
wherever you
Read
like from.
23.
Yeah.
You
You may
got
go
the scripture
wherever
in front
you
of
like
you. Can
from
you read
here.
it? Read
Yes.
Sure,
23.
I'm
You
reading.
know
I'm
what, Brother
reading.
Hashim, if you could bring that on the screen, because
Yeah.
I have.
he very clearly also mentions that
Are you able to see my
when I
screen?
have got you back, it is to protect my own honor as a
Yeah.
king.
Read
Yes,
verse
yes, I
number
know that.
23.
Yeah, yeah. Can you see my screen first of all?
I can see your screen. Yeah.
Yeah, good.
You
Okay, so
said he
set your
wasn't
mind on.
offering her, right? Read
Hang
23.
on, hang on. Set your mind on Lakshman or Bharat as per your ease.
Mhm.
Otherwise, set your mind either on Shatrughan or Sugriv or Vibhishan, the demon, according to your own comfort. So
Yeah.
he is saying that these, do not look at me. If you want to really settle down with somebody, these are the options you
It's
have.
not
If
about
you
look
like
at,
them,
you know what, Koji, it's not about having a dining buffet that if you don't like this, just suit yourself and select a kind of meal which you would like. It is about people, human beings. It's about a husband and about the
so
sanctity of a marriage. are you
we
are
are
you
agreed.
seeing?
We
So,
are agreed. We are agreed
and
on the
then
fact. that
Yes.
we are
And
agreed on
then
the
if you
fact
would
that
see, and then if you
mm,
would see in 24 and 25,
mm,
it very clearly is coming out where he says that seeing you, who are
mm, mm,
endowed with the beautiful form and attractive to sense, detained for long in his abode, Ravan could not have endured your separation. Now again,
right.
you're seeing, can you see that he's directly sort of, it's bringing
Yeah,
out that,
he's casting
yes,
aspersions on his wife.
that
Absolutely,
Clearly,
Ravan could
absolutely,
I
not
don't
have.
know how you can't see that.
Ravan
absolutely.
could
No, no,
not
I
have
can see
stayed
that.
separated from you. Ravan could not have endured your separation. And then he
Mm,
further says that hearing that unpalatable speech of her beloved husband, Sita, who used to hear pleasing words alone, was very much trembled for long. Somebody who's trembled
mm,
is not having a choice of, choosing from among the other people whom would I like to spend my rest of life and whom would I choose as my husband. And it's further said that like a creeper attacked by the proboscis of an elephant and thereupon shed tears. So it's
Mm.
not like a kind of a healthy dialogue having that, okay, please choose somebody else other than me and you have full
no,
choice.
agreed. Agreed. No, no, I agree with you. So I'm at this point in time, I did align. I did say that Ram was saying a lot of unkind words, right, to
It's not just
Sita, and
unkind, man. Come on, you're watering it down.
was saying
Harsh words.
he was not, he was, yeah, harsh words. Okay, let's I agree with that. And he was not even that unpalatable, right? That's the word used by the scripture itself. So it's not that we are kind of defending that or glorifying that, right? So
You
it
know,
is unpalatable.
if
We know.
anyone if anyone
Mm,
casts doubt on his wife in
mm,
this way,
mm,
and he literally offers her
mm,
to set her mind on other men, I don't
mm.
think any husband would want to do that unless he did
Yeah.
not
So
love
now
his
now
wife anymore,
let's see how that
unless
plays
he
out, right?
wanted to divorce her, or unless he basically has nothing to do with her.
Let's see how that plays out. Okay. So 116 is where Sita basically, instead of just taking that lying down, she actually goes into a tirade against Ram. She does
Read,
protest.
read
She
first.
does.
Read
Mhm.
from the first verse, please.
Sure,
Let's see what Sita says about Ram
sure,
and
sure.
how she was terrified and how she was crying.
Mm. Absolutely. Hearing the
Actually,
terrific,
read the
terrific
first
word.
paragraph, the summary at the top. Start
Okay.
from there.
Mhm.
Start from the
Sita
summary.
gives a taunt. Sita gives a taunting reply to Rama, saying that why she was not abandoned by the latter, even at the time when Hanuman came to see her in Lanka. Then Sita requests Lakshman to prepare a pile for her of fire for her to enter. When Lakshman prepares a pyre, Sita prays the fire god and enters into it in order to to prove her conjugal fidelity. So basically, so first of all,
So what
she's
was
trying
she
to
Conjugal
proving?
fidelity is the
What was
word.
she trying to prove by that?
Conjugal
prove that she's loyal.
fidelity.
Yeah, whether
She's
she lost her
she's
chastity
trying
or
to
not.
prove that she was loyal, that she had only one man in her mind, and that she never strayed for even a
You
second,
want to
right?
do the
Right.
selection? Do it from top to bottom.
No, yes, of course. So I'm saying that what I'm saying is that there was a taunting reply.
Yeah.
Then the test that happened, the Agni Pariksha that we say, was actually suggested by her. It was not something that Ram said that you have to do this, right?
What do you expect,
Hmm.
Koji? If somebody is attacking you like that, how
Hmm.
else would
Mhm.
you try to defend yourself? That's the.
As a
It's not
strong
out of.
woman,
It's not out of
hmm,
really happiness that she is offering that
hmm,
test. It's out of sheer
sure,
utterness and desperation and trying
out
to
of
prove
desperation,
her
out of even
chastity.
anger, out of
Yeah,
even indignation,
absolutely.
I'm there with you. Yeah, even anger, right? So she does went out on her husband, which is something you wouldn't hear a lot of the saintly wives, etc., doing that in the scriptures. But she does make her point, and then she says, okay, fine. If I have to prove my loyalty, then this is what I would what I suggest that you do. And for the first time in the entire Ramayana, Lakshman was basically extremely angry with what Ram was trying to insinuate here. And but looking at the look in the face of Ram, he agreed to basically set up that fire and then um, and set that test up, right? And then of course a lot of things happen here.
So
I'm not
I'm
going to
not
go through the
able to
entire.
see a dharmic husband, Koji. I'm
Wait, wait,
not able
wait.
to
Hang
see
on.
the dharma of a husband here. And then what
Yes,
good is coming out of
yes,
all of that we are celebrating
yes,
good over evil?
yes. I'll address that. Okay, so then finally in chapter 118, this is where the actual test happens. And in this Agni, the fire deity himself, right? He basically comes back and delivers Sita, saying that this is the most blessed person that you could have. Now, if you see, now Rama explains his harsh speech, and see, so far the script has not been glorifying his behavior. So we say Rama is great, Rama could make no mistake. But if you see the scripture itself has been calling his speech unpalatable, has been showing him being taunted, has been showing him being questioned by his own brother who followed him like a god, right? So basically, we can see that people are questioning this. The scripture itself is not accepting this, as the work of somebody who is a Purushottam. So then he explains why he did what he did, right? So first of all, he says, this is a pure factory ordeal that had to happen for the eyes of the people. I, for one moment, did not have a doubt. I know that Sita, the daughter of Janaka, whoever revolves in my mind, is undivided in her affection to me. And then he goes on to kind of glorify her loyalty, chastity, etc., etc. One of the key points that he makes here, and then of course you can say that this is a very human thing to say, and how does that show any divinity here? But the world would chatter against me, saying that Ram, the son of Dashrath, was really foolish, and that his mind was dominated by lust if I accept Sita without examining her with regard to her chastity. So he's
Now,
explaining why.
this argument in itself, Koji,
Mhm,
where you have
mhm,
to appease the people and put an innocent person to test just so that
mhm,
the people are
mhm,
satisfied. So this in
mhm.
itself is not an argument which probably a dharmic person would entail to, that people would
As
have called
a
me foolish. No, you have to stand against the world to tell that, even the way we say, you could see even in so-called Bollywood movies, where the mortal actor, actresses, etc., the hero, the people whom people revere, even they say that, I'm going to stand with you through thick and thin, and no matter
mhm,
what the world say, I'm going to be with your side. So here we are talking
mhm,
about a personality who's directly an avatar of Vishnu,
mhm,
who's
mhm,
divine, whom we are going to
mhm,
look up to as Maryada Purushottam. And he's saying that
mhm,
people would call me then foolish, or people would say that I have fallen to the lust of it. Rather, he should have said, no matter what people call and say, I am here
mhm,
standing by you to say that I fully trust you, and I know
mhm,
that nothing has happened to you. And he should have told that on the face of
mhm,
people, rather than making his own wife,
mhm.
go through all entire ordeal which she had gone through. And
I,
even
I
after,
I agree. I agree. But
yes.
as a judge, because a king is also a judge, right? As a judge, you might know that the person who's standing in the suspicion, the suspect's space today, is innocent. As a judge, I might implicitly know that. But as a judge, can I say I don't believe you committed a crime, so I'm going to absolve you of the trial process, the process of judgment or process of trial, or would he say that
but
let
here
there be a
she's
fair
but
trial?
here she's an innocent person. Here, Koji, she's not
Mhm,
somebody who has raped the other person or murdered the other person. Rather, she's the
mhm,
victim. So it's an irony that a judicial system is such which is placing
mhm,
the victim in a position
mhm,
of being a villain,
mhm.
of saying that I don't hold you to be innocent. It's almost like the situation where today, in today's
Wait,
time,
you,
the
you,
girls who
you
are
have the.
raped, they are asked
Mhm,
heinous questions in the court in order to prove that they have been
mhm.
raped. And you must have seen in a lot of news where people condemn this and say that they are the innocent victims. Why do they have to go through this torture? And this is
And
what
I
we are
totally
seeing
agree with that.
here.
Mhm.
And
No, no,
here,
wait.
and
No, no,
this is
no,
what we are
no, no.
seeing here,
You're not seeing
that
this. You're not seeing the same thing
Sita
here.
was not at all at fault. It was no
Mm-hmm.
fault of hers that she was abducted, and yet she was the one who was suffering the most. And even the so-called king or the judge, forget about the role of her husband, even the king or the judge was not sympathetic to the women to be able to understand that was not her fault, and not to
Mm-hmm.
question her chastity about it. Because then
Mm-hmm.
every time, every husband, every king will ask every Sita and every woman to keep going through those tests in order to prove their innocence and chastity, even when they would have not done anything wrong. That's not the
Okay.
kind of role model that we wish to set up
And
in a
that is
society.
definitely a very valid. That's a very valid argument to take on this. And I certainly don't have any disagreements with that. I think this is definitely one of the more questionable elements of Lord Ram. But what I would say is that you know the point that I'm making is that we have the you can say the benefit of hindsight, because we've read the scriptures. We know, okay, fine, so this happens in this particular kand. Ravan comes dressed up as an ascetic and abducts her, right? We know that. But even Ram and Lakshman themselves, were unaware of that particular thing happening there. Of course, Ram in his spiritual sense would have known that, but in his mortal form, he did not know that, and he had to search the corners of the world to basically try to find out where she went. So if you think of the retinue that Ram has,
But no,
the
Koji, I
Vanaras,
would still say, I
can you
would
please
still say the two cannot be compared together. You know,
can you please explain? Can you please let me finish my point?
but those
It'll be
can't
only
be compared. Koji, that example which you have given of Ram not knowing or maybe being under the
no,
spell of
be fair
Maya.
to me, please. Let me finish this point. Let me. I'm trying to establish something here, right?
Okay.
So basically, what? So if you think of the people who were with Ram, be it Lakshman himself, the Vanaras, or the soldiers that came with him from Ayodhya, etc., right? So these people would not have had the advantage of being able to read through Valmiki's Ramayana and know, okay, fine, this is what really happened to Sita. They finally found that Sita was gone. Ram and Lakshman had left her in the cottage at the forest one day, and then suddenly, when they were back, she was gone. And all they had in terms of clues was some pieces of jewelry strewn around the country. But apart from that, they had no clue as to where she went. Now, for a person to then go into war, etc., with another king for having had that the queen there, Sita there, after that war had finished, would it not make sense to see that what Ram says is also true, that they would say, okay, so this, we don't know if this lady was actually abducted or she eloped, what really happened there, right? So there would be this question, there will always be chattering behind this.
Which could always be
Is
explained to Koji. That's what I'm saying,
Mhm,
that there could be a
mhm,
lot of chattering in the society and people could
mhm,
say n number of things, but just
mhm,
because they are saying something out of their
mhm,
ignorance, that
mhm,
doesn't mean that you would put an innocent person under trial like that. What kind of
mhm,
fair system of judiciary would do that, where somebody who has
mhm,
no fault of his or hers
mhm.
is going through such a
So
turmoil,
we
and
know
then
we know, right? We
yeah.
do know, right? And I again, I don't want to unnecessarily bring in Islam in this discussion, but we do know that, right? If rape cannot be established under Sharia law, it becomes adultery, and the rape victim is stoned, right? It happened in Somalia, for instance. So
No, no,
this thing can be a
hang on.
side
Stop
effect.
there.
Just a second.
Stop there. You cannot like put somewhere like Somalia. First of all, it's not under the Sharia, and what happened in Somalia, that was through a dissident group. So, which is a lots of things that,
Yeah.
but don't speak
It's
about
not
things
through a
in the
Sharia court.
Sharia.
Yeah.
Pardon?
It's not through a Sharia court.
Yes, Jazakallah khair.
Yeah.
It's not so sure. And also, Koji, here we are talking about the God who's incarnating as a human, as an avatar,
Mhm,
and setting
mhm.
standards and examples for the mortals to follow and to abide by, which is the
So
reason why in 21st century today, still we go by
mhm,
those idols and we say that let's bring about those Sanatani Dharma back into the modern era. So if you say that Sanatanis want to bring those back into the modern era, then these are the kinds of very important issues which come up, that
sure, sure.
is it actually a triumph of good, or what is it exactly which is being
Mhm,
celebrated, and what is exactly winning in all of this, and what exactly is the dharma then, what is the dharma of an ideal husband and also a king, for that
mhm,
matter,
mhm.
in terms of
Yeah.
judiciary. So
Mhm.
all of this comes into question, and which is why the entire stream is about this idea, that what exactly is it that we are celebrating, and what exactly
Mhm.
wins over what.
True. And I would not,
Koji, sorry, just to add something to
sure.
what Sister Swati has said. Look, the 9 days, it's all about feminism. It's all about these goddesses and how they are thriving and how they are superior and how they are producing gods and. Then you come right at the end of it, and we have got like everything is turned upside down, everything. So there isn't actually feminism and the goddesses, and that they actually they're being thrown on the side, and accusations are flying about, and yeah, what good over evil that is in there? I see evil over good, not the other way around.
In fact, for that matter, for Koji, for that matter, even Ravan, this is, here we talked about the questioning of the good, what exactly won, And then you see on the other side that people like Ravan, who actually did all of this, because of which, all the mishappening happened, he eventually, just because of being, slayed by by an avatar, gets moksha, gets salvation. So
Moksha.
the very question of salvation and moksha also then becomes, questionable, that a person can do all kinds of misdeeds, but just because he gets, he gets to be killed, he gets to have his death from an avatar, that he directly gets moksha. So then the question of dharma, becomes totally,
So
it
this
just
is,
becomes questionable then,
yeah.
that what exactly
Mm,
is dharma then, because it's said in Sanatan Dharma that it's the dharma that is eventually going to lead you to the path of moksha. So
true,
here
true,
neither
true.
dharma gets followed, and neither moksha,
Mm,
gets to have its sanctity being preserved. That's the problem then, that the evil
true.
gets salvation, and the good is something which is still in turmoil, and it's still trying to prove itself, and it's still questionable, and it's still in trial. So the celebration is something that is, I don't know what to celebrate then in such a scenario.
No, I think that's taking a very, I would say, and again, I don't invalidate your stand as a woman. I think you definitely have every right to feel outraged by this, right? And I think most men should also feel that this is not fair. But at the same time, what I'm trying to explain here is that Ram here is basically trying to balance. So what I told about dharma sankat, right? When you have two clashing dharmas, which one prevails over the other one? So his one dharma that he has to follow is that of a king, where he has to basically punish adultery, but at the same time he has to protect one, who has been molested or
And
abducted
that's the
against her
problem,
will.
that the one who
Mhm,
actually commits Khoji, the one who actually commits that adultery, is the one who's getting salvation, which is Ravan.
mhm,
And the one who's a
mhm.
poor victim of all that, who has no fault in it, is
So
the one who's going through the
Ravan,
trial.
yeah, now Ravan salvation is different, right? I mean, I think we go deep into the Puranas. We know about Jay and Vijay, right? Those
Yes,
people are
all those
basically,
births,
yeah,
and
yeah,
again the
yeah.
birth of Shishupal also
Right,
after
right.
this.
Mm,
But
mm,
the
mm.
question is, the irony
So
of
he
the
doesn't get
fact
moksha,
is,
right? You agree that he doesn't get moksha because he's reborn again. He doesn't get
but he
moksha
gets,
in that
but
sense.
this was a part
Mm,
and parcel of his way towards moksha. This was a part and
mm,
parcel of his way towards moksha, that as a Shishupal, his last birth,
mm,
where he had abused Krishna, the last one,
mm,
the 101th abuse, was the one where he got
mhm,
killed, and then ultimately he
mhm,
received the moksha. So irony is, when you say no, that this is a dharam sankat, and you have to
mhm,
make a balance between your dharam as a king
mhm,
and your dharam as a husband, you are
mhm.
actually not even following the dharma as a king, as in terms of judiciary, the role of judiciary, and neither as a husband. And that's
No,
why I'm
I mean,
saying,
I would not agree with that because a king cannot be above the law, right? The
of
law that
course
he sets
cannot be above
himself,
the law, but that's why
right?
he's not doing any nepotism. In fact, here what he's doing
Mhm.
is that he's unnecessarily punishing somebody who's an innocent victim. There is no
Mm.
fault here of Sita,
He,
and yet she has to undergo all of that just because
he's
the
the only
people are
one.
ignorant,
Mm.
and just to
He's the
prove
only
to the
one.
people.
Mm, mm. He is the only one who's truly aware of Sita's chastity. If you see the
But what
lines that
is the
I'm
point of being
basically,
aware of it if you can't prove it to the people, or if you
but
can't display it in
it
your actions? If you
And
no,
why
can't
is
she
why
display,
is the king always
she
dependent on his
she's
on the
she's
citizens? Why can't he take his own decisions?
in
she's
fact, the
no, but
subjects have
again,
to,
this
Koji,
this would be this would
Koji,
see. I mean,
also, in
I'll
fact, the
tell you.
subjects, lot of time it happens that, if you would have seen, even for example, in democracy, a lot of time
Mhm,
it happens that in order to appease people, sometimes,
mhm,
we see that authorities take certain decisions which are in their
mhm.
own vested interest. So, we
True.
say that that was not correct. So,
Mhm,
rather, a king should be somebody who should, even if people are ignorant, or if they don't
mhm.
know, the king should take a stand where he needs to tell the people and the subjects and the citizens that, see, you are all on wrong side, this is what is the truth, and
Exactly.
me
That
being
will
your
be a just
ruler,
king.
And
yes, I'm
this is
your
what
ruler,
this
I'm
is
your
what he
king,
says.
and I
But
need to
he,
correct you, I
yeah.
need to bring you to the right path. That's the
Okay.
dharma of a king,
So
not
And
to
this is
get
Koji,
this
Koji,
swayed
let
by
me
what
ask you
people are
this:
saying.
this is what Rama does,
can
right?
someone be a good king and a good husband at the same time?
Yes, yes, they can. They
Why
can.
can't Ram be that?
They can. But Ram has see in this case, Ram has been an excellent husband until the point that this event happened, right?
But
But
that is the
once,
key test for
mm,
Ram, and he
yeah,
failed miserably in
this is a
that
key.
test.
I mean, that is one way to look
Sita
at it.
passed
But
the test of the
uh,
Agni Pariksha, the fire test,
mm,
and
mhm,
proved the chastity. And even
mhm.
then, Ram is telling her to
So
exile
if you see
and to choose
even
whomever
Ram's
you want.
Even Ram's
set your
own
mind on
book,
some
right?
other husband.
Even Ram's own book condemns him for this, right? It says that his words are unpalatable, that he's been very harsh, right?
Yeah,
So all of
exactly.
these
That's what
things
I'm
are,
telling you.
yeah.
So this doesn't show Ram
So,
as this charitra manas or this ideal husband or ideal man. It shows the
yeah,
Maryada
exact opposite.
Purushottam.
Maryada Purushottam.
Because where is
Yes.
the
Yeah,
So,
Maryada there
Maryada
and where is
Purushottam.
the Uttam Purush there? That's not getting displayed here in either of the roles, neither as a king and nor as a husband.
Yeah.
I would disagree with that. I think as a king, he basically made himself and his wife subject to the law, and he let Sita prove it herself, right? He did not say that
And
by
she
the king
passed, but
I decree.
yet he abandoned her. He
No,
exiled
that
her.
is I do not believe in that. My Ramayana ends here with the end of
So
the
you're saying all
Yuddha.
these other Ramayans have
There has
extra
been a
bit
lot
of
of
the story,
it has been
And
and you
interpolated. Yes,
what
you
about
abandon
there
Love
it.
are
and Kush
scholarly
then?
articles about it.
Koji, according to your version of Ramayan,
Mhm.
where did Love and Kush get born then?
It's not even indicated in the Valmiki Ramayana. Valmiki Ramayana ends with
Did they even exist
the
in your
the
Ramayana,
couple.
Love and Kush?
No, they don't.
So
In
Love and
Valmiki
Kush don't
Ramayana, love and
exist.
kush don't exist. That's what I know.
Wow. Okay.
It ends with the
Let
with the
me
return to
let
the
me ask you
palace.
another question which we haven't dwelt
Mhm.
on upon.
No,
In
but
terms
let me
of
address one point. Let me address
yeah,
one
go
point,
on.
and I'll get back to your
Okay.
question. So why the reason I said that this is a complex question is we are looking at Ram in Treta Yuga, and please don't start now quizzing me as to when Treta Yuga is. But Ram in Treta Yuga is basically we see him basically trying to be a just king who's subject to his laws himself, and basically becomes a not so good a husband, right? And we are
Actually, he's not a
criticizing him
just
for
king
that.
either, because Sita
Yeah,
was
and
one of his subjects. She was a citizen of that kingdom. She's not.
but
He's not
see,
just with
I mean,
her. Clearly,
it is the
so he's
role of
not
a
a good
just
king
king.
either,
It is the role of a just king. So if there are charges against somebody, that those are
which were proven
effectively
wrong
tried.
based on the Agni
Yeah,
Pariksha.
but can we say that even if I know somebody is innocent, if somebody's charged with something, should I not
Who
put that
charged?
person on
Who charged
trial?
her? Was there a trial? Who
Yes,
charged her?
this was the trial. This was the trial, and
But she
and
passed in the trial. If
Ram
the
charged
trial
him
was the
as
Agni
the king.
Pariksha, she passed that.
Ram
So
charged him as the
what charge are
king.
you talking about? These are the
Ram charged
rumors
him.
spread by his subjects. Okay,
Right.
some
That's right.
fisherwoman might say something about her, and this king has to
Mhm.
listen to her
No,
rumors.
but I mean, there's definitely see. I mean, again,
There's no charge based on
Ram did
any
the,
judicial
the,
system in Ram's kingdom. Let's put it that way.
the courtiers of Ram did not have the advantage of being able to read the Valmiki Ramayana in a serial manner, right? They
Yeah, but
they said that
on
okay,
what
so
base
Sita
did they
was
charge
gone.
her? What
Sita was gone.
evidence do they have on which
Yeah.
she was
So what
charged?
what they know is Sita was gone for 6 months or whatever, and then she was found in the kingdom of another man in their gynecium or harem or whatever you might call it, right? That's where she was found.
But Koji, when Sita was kidnapped, even Ram was there in the exile
No,
only for those 14 years.
yeah, he was in exile, but he was
So
not at the
both of
spot.
them were outside the kingdom. It's not that only Sita was
Mhm,
away. Ram and Sita and Lakshman, they were all
mhm,
outside the palace. They were all in the
mhm,
jungle within
mhm.
which the episode of abducting of Sita had taken place.
True,
Yeah.
So
true.
when this has happened, what is it that
Mhm.
Ram has to explain to the courtiers that you are
No,
saying? What I mean,
he's
you are
always
saying that
thinking.
he had to
even
explain to the courtiers about
even
something.
Bharat even Bharat ruled in his name, right? So he was always king, even though he was not physically present there. He was always king.
That's a different matter. We are talking
Yeah,
about Sita's trial here. You said she
mhm.
was charged. I'm asking you, who charged her and based on what
Yes.
evidence?
Ram the king charged her on behalf of the people, and then Sita
Based on
proved her
what
innocence
evidence?
herself based on what is mentioned here.
What is
There
mentioned?
would
Nothing
be
is
chatter.
mentioned other
There would
than
there would be chatter.
his speculation.
There would
He
be
was not he
chatter.
was not an eyewitness. Sita is clearly telling him that she is
Mhm,
chaste, but he keeps taunting her or
mhm,
basically accusing her of things that
mhm.
he has no evidence for.
And that is that is again what we're
How is
saying
he a
is
good king? I'm trying to understand that. He's a bad
no.
husband
As
and a bad king based on the example given in Ramayana.
he's a questionable husband, I can grant you that.
He's also
But
questionable king.
as a
If you're charging
as a
if you
king,
charge your subject, be
mhm,
it your wife, without
mhm.
evidence, that shows that you're a bad judge.
So A
because
trial will have to happen,
Koji,
right, on the basis of charge.
he's presuming that he had been Ravan had done some adultery with her and things have gone like this. He had not seen it, so how can he say that? Or for that matter, any of the people who were there as his subjects, how can
But
they
she
all
proved
say
her
anything about
So
it?
innocence. She
that's
proved
what
her innocence anyway. She proved her innocence.
she proved her innocence to the test, Sheikh. So that is what the whole text is about. That
Yes,
she took
yes.
the test, she proved
In the
herself,
And
first
she
place,
and
passed
even
with flying
in the first
colors.
and
in the first place,
and
the accusation itself was something
Mhm.
to which there was no proof at all, and yet the king and the subjects, they all
Mhm.
had accused her of something which they had no eyewitness to. So this is
They, they
not
they
a
were
trait of
eyewitness to
a,
her being found. They were eyewitness to her being found from Ravana's palace, right? They don't know what
yeah, but
conditions she was in.
being found from somebody's palace doesn't mean that an adultery has been committed there.
No,
It's a
it is not.
different
That's
thing
why
altogether.
that's why the trial has to be done. The witness, the evidence has to be provided, and then the outcome of the trial would prevail, right? That's what is happening here. Now,
No,
I
that's
do
what.
say this.
Why is it being assumed that because she has been kidnapped, something has, they had done something to her? Why is it that is being assumed here? Because you know what, Koji? Then that is something which sets the trend for the society in 21st century also, that if somebody has kidnapped a woman or a girl, then
Mhm,
the entire blame or fault will come to her, that definitely there has been some adultery which has been committed on her, even if that may not have been the case. Even if the girl or the women keep on saying that she is innocent, they would say that
mhm,
when Sita had gone through the test and trial, how can we spare
mhm.
you from that? So you are seeing what kind of
I
role,
and your
what
point
kind of model are we setting then for the people and for the society?
and your point is valid, and I don't disagree with that. But that's the counter I was giving. I was saying that in Treta Yuga, this is what Ram chose to do. In the Dwapar Yuga, Krishna did the very opposite of this. He went and fought Narakasura. He
But the
basically
problem
freed
is,
his.
Koji, we
Let
don't
me finish my point,
celebrate
please.
that. We are
Please continue.
celebrating, we are still, no matter what Krishna had done
No,
afterwards, we are still
we are
celebrating the
celebrating
Shera.
we are celebrating
Koji, we are still
the victory
celebrating
of.
Dashera as a triumph of good over evil. People have still not let go of that. It's
Yeah.
not that people have forgotten about it and said that, okay, maybe, these things are questionable and maybe we should stop, or maybe we should have
No,
deliberations and discourses on
you
that.
don't denounce a king for this one act, right? For one act
No, we
which
don't. But you can't even say
as
then
the
he's
people didn't.
Purushottam. If you say somebody to be a Purushottam and Maryada Purushottam, then that tag means that there has not been an iota of, any kind of, mistake or any kind of flaw which could be associated with that person. And
Yeah.
and mind you,
Justice for
Koji,
Sita.
See, as
and
a
mind you,
human, see,
Koji,
Ram is human, right? Ram is human.
and
Ram
mind you,
never
no, but
takes
No,
mind
no,
you,
liberties.
Koji,
he's more than just a human. Come on.
yes, he's an
He's
No,
more than
avatar.
he's
let me
worshipped
explain.
as a Bhagwan amongst the
He's
Hindus.
worshipped.
So don't say
He's
he's just a
worshipped.
human.
He's not a human, he's an
Ram
avatar.
actually
He's a role
is born
model.
as a human to
Koji,
basically be able to.
he's
Please
the
let me finish my point.
he's born among human,
Yeah.
Hmm,
taking an avatar, or
hmm,
avatar coming and descending as a human, but coming as a
hmm,
role model for everybody, because of which
hmm.
we have Ram temples and because of which people
True.
worship Ram. And that's the
Hmm.
reason why I'm saying to you that these are not the things that people still question. Rather, people
Yeah.
celebrate that and they still take that to be a victory of good.
Yeah. So
It's still
Koji,
taken to be
before
goodness.
you go, I just want to ask you something. There was a caller
No.
earlier.
I have points to finish. Wait,
Yeah,
let me
yeah.
finish.
So just let me ask you this
I need
point.
a chance to finish my point.
Do you consider Ramayana to be a historic event, or is it a mythology?
Okay, this is a tricky one, of course. Um, I would say
Mythology,
that
straightforward.
the Ramayana and the Mahabharata are considered itihasa, meaning
Mm-hmm.
that it happened. In what shape and form did it exactly happen? We know that things have been glorified over the ages. Even if you compare Valmiki with Tulsidas, you'll find a lot of differences. So things get glorified over the ages.
So which one is true?
Things get
Which is true historic event?
I would. I don't think we would ever know that because we have not been witness to that. But
Right. Would you
what I
say
would
there is some exaggeration and speculation in these stories?
I would say over time, yes, of course. But I would
Okay.
say that
So what would
purest
that
form of the
mean is
telling
the
would be
original has
Valmiki.
been lost if there was any.
No. This is like how you glorify. For example, when you glorify, let's say, Ashok, right? He's a more recent historical figure. Now, there's a
Ashoka.
lot Ashoka, right? King Ashoka,
Yeah.
right? So we do talk about his conversion to Buddhism. We talk about the Kalinga War, but there
Yeah,
are
this
many
is
historians
this
who
is
actually
hero
consider these
worship. That's different to a
right.
god.
So
Very
I would
different to
say
a
that
god being worshipped.
Rama, we see with Rama a core of hero worship too. We are worshiping his. So Vishnu
No,
says,
no.
I
There's
was
a
born as
difference between
Rama.
hero worship. Like many people today consider Cristiano Ronaldo as the god of football. That doesn't mean they literally worship him as God. This is called hero worship, which is very different to calling
Mhm.
someone as Bhagwan Ram or Bhagwan Krishna as gods.
Mhm.
These are literally, they have temples built in their names. So
True,
it's very
and
different.
that I believe is a misunderstanding, because when Vishnu says that I am Ram, or when even Sikh texts talk about Ram, they talk about the Ram which is ethereal. They're not talking about, they're talking about the Ram which is human. Ram actually took, so even going with the Puranic interpretation, Vishnu actually became Ram because he had to be human. That was the only way of killing Ravan. So
Yeah,
because he had to
but
be
now you're
human.
saying Ram was, sorry, Vishnu became Ram, which means he's an avatar. So he's not just an ordinary man, right?
But he's human. I mean, as an avatar. So
That
if you
wasn't the
see the
question. I'm
difference,
asking, do you not
you see
see
the
a difference
difference.
between an avatar and yourself?
There's a difference between, let's say, Ram as an avatar and Krishna as an avatar, because Krishna is able to take on his divine form at any time that he wants. Ram is not able to do that. Ram is constrained by a mortal frame because he had to be.
Yeah, so maybe he's not
um,
same as the other avatars.
True. That's
So what
true.
I'm
And
asking, is that, okay, if you consider Ram to be
that is
a
one of the key
historic
points.
figure,
That is one of my
no,
arguments
yeah,
that
that's fine. I mean, every Hindu has their own
let me
interpretation.
let,
So
let,
do
let,
you
let me
consider
explain that.
Ravan to have 10
Let me
heads,
finish my
or is
point,
that
please,
also,
Hashim.
is that a
Please let me finish my
metaphoric
point.
thing for Ravan to have 10 heads, or did he literally have 10
Oh
heads
yeah, yeah.
and
No, no,
20
no. He did
hands?
not actually. No, no, he literally did not. The Shanana was a name that you would give to somebody who was learned in 10 different vidyas, Mahavidyas. So
Hmm.
he was a very learned man. He was a great scholar of the Vedas,
But he
of
also
the.
had 10, what do you call that? 10 different, not sins, but his character as being as being egoistic and
Yeah, yeah,
evil and all that.
10 aspects, right? 10 aspects.
Yeah,
So you
so
see,
the
even
10
even
evil
Ravan.
aspects of him are also there. It's not just the 10 um,
Mm.
aspects of
I mean,
knowledge.
so if you would traditionally see, as a Hindu, I would refrain from painting people in shades of white and black. That usually
Koji,
is not something that.
would you call
Hmm?
Ravan a dharmic person?
No, Ravan was not a dharmic person. He was an adharmi.
So
So
then,
he was a
Koji,
very
then
knowledgeable.
that's the
He was a
issue.
very
That is something which then hits
he
me
was a
off.
very knowledgeable
That
person.
that how come, Koji? That what hits me off is
Hey,
how come
can you
somebody
please
who's
let me finish my
adharmic,
point?
what? How
Can you
come
please let me
somebody
finish my point?
adharmic? How
Hmm.
come somebody adharmic ultimately get the salvation then after committing all of these things, for which then in fact
See,
Dashera is
see,
like
see,
he's a symbol of evil, and yet then
right.
he's getting salvation and moksha.
See,
Oh, by
the
the way, did he agree with that question of yours,
Hinduism.
Yes,
sister?
yes, he
That
did.
if an avatar kills someone, he gets moksha. Did he agree with that?
No, no, no.
That's
That's not
No,
true.
he didn't.
That is
He
not true.
didn't.
That's
He
not true.
didn't.
no,
Ravan himself is an example
but
because
in the
he
birth
kept
of
coming back.
Shishupal, when
Hmm.
in the birth of Shishupal, when finally Krishna also killed him, that's when
Hmm.
he reached salvation. He got the moksha.
No, he would have come back as Koka and Vikoka in the Kali Yuga, whom Kalki would then deal with, right? So they will keep coming back in cycles. Um,
But Ravan doesn't. The Ravan achieved moksha then after
no, no, no. He
Shishupal.
no, he
No,
does not.
he's saying he
He does
didn't
not.
achieve moksha. So let's leave it
There
there.
were two brothers, right? There were two
Yeah, yeah.
brothers, Jai
Koji, you
Vijay.
Yes.
you said you had some more points. Can you
Yeah, no,
quickly wrap it
Okay.
up,
I
because we
just
need
wanted to,
to call other people in?
sure, sure, sure. I'm very aware of that. So I just wanted to bring a quick point here that we definitely have the advantage today, reading the text of saying that, okay, Ram did this wrong. And for sure, this is a questionable thing that he did. We see the opposite being done by Krishna, where he went and freed the sex slaves of Narakasura and then married each and every one of them. But we criticize him for that now, right? So Krishna did not care
Because
about
they are both
society.
either of the extremes, no, Koji. You have to balance it out. You can't go to either extremes. Either you totally abandon, or you start marrying everybody. That's not the solution then. If you have to free them, you can just free them and let them lead a respectable life. You don't have to keep marrying each and everybody just
It
because you
was
want to give them respect
true.
in the
True.
society.
It was the wish of those ladies that they would become the wives of Krishna. So that's how it came out to be. But again, that's a completely different topic. I don't want to go into too much
So
details
that's
of
what
that. But
I'm
what I'm
saying, that
saying
it's
is
not a
the
compensation
act
then. It's not a
the
compensation.
acts
If
of the
it's the wish,
avatars.
if it's the wish of those, if it's the wish of
Mhm,
those women, then that's no
mhm.
compensation that
They
was
they
done to
they
what
said.
was done in the
Mhm.
avatar of Ram. It's no
No, no,
compensation
it is.
then.
I'm not saying it's a compensation. I'm saying that different avatars deal with these problems differently. So, for example, Ram, being a king, was subject to laws of society. Krishna cared less about the laws of the society, right? He bent laws. In the war, every law was broken,
But
right? So
that's
he
again
bent the laws.
questionable, Koji. You know what?
I know. You
Of
can
course,
question
the
that.
stream is not on that, so we'll not go into detail. But that again becomes questionable when somebody who doesn't want to wage a war, you force him and say it's your dharma to wage a war, and please do that.
Mhm.
That again becomes anher
Yeah.
extreme
That is,
altogether.
yeah. That we can discuss about that. That's a very
Yes,
different topic, right?
Okay,
yes.
That
let's
was
No,
the
leave
you
whole
that
know,
for
so the
purpose
next
of
time.
Arjuna's life. That was
yes,
the whole purpose of
Koji, I
Arjuna's
think
life,
we'll wrap it up
right?
over here because, like I said,
yeah,
I'm wary of
Mhm.
the other people waiting in the back studio.
Sure,
yes.
absolutely,
But
absolutely,
really appreciate your time and hope to see you again.
All right.
absolutely. Thank you. I had a nice
All right.
chat.
Thank
Thank you
you.
so much.
Take care,
Mhm.
Koji.
Thank you.